struggle is often rewarded because there are so many people who believe that struggle is what makes productivity, or that struggle is what makes things happen. Because they are accustomed to moving physical things around, they are not aware of the turning thoughts to things. They're not aware of vibration and alignment and leverage of source energy. And so they're not aware of the power of the mind or the leverage of the mind of source and such. So that's why we talk about step 1 is contrast causes you to ask, and step 2 is source answers, and there's no resistance in the step 2 part at all. And step 3 is the work of focusing with as little resistance as possible until you feel the energy break through for you. That's when that idea comes. And then step 4 is mastering that. Step 4 simply means recognizing when you are introducing resistance into the equation, because it's only the resistance that you introduce into the equation that slows the energy and therefore causes depletion. In other words, no one else can introduce resistance into your equation, only you. Others can influence it as they say things and you listen to them. Some years ago, Esther's Jerry, wrote a paper called Keep Your Ideas to Yourself. And the subtitle was Until They're Fully Developed. Because he knew, as he worked with people, that they'd have an idea and they'd flow for a while, but then other people who didn't believe in their idea would talk to them about it, and they would listen, and then in their listening, they would introduce resistance into their equation, and then they'd slow the momentum of their idea down until they were now no longer in the receptive mode. And so the idea of it is to get hooked up with source energy, and then you don't get depleted. We'll tell you some things that are using the power of source, and you tell us if this meets your criteria of hard work. To be in the receptive mode and to be consistently in that receptive mode, so it's step 4, so you're really in that replenishing mode, it requires focus. It requires being willing to look at positive aspects even when negative aspects are showing themselves to you. Think that's hard work? And so what makes the difference between that being hard work and that being not such hard work? Doing it until you get the hang of it. In other words, doing it until it becomes easier. And so when you think about what you want, you connect with source energy about it. When you think about it not being done, then that's like, the best analogy we have is you think about what you want, and it's like putting an engine on your train. You're the train going that way. And when you think about it not happening, it's like putting an engine on the same train going in the opposite direction. So even though there's a lot of hard work going on, you're not going anywhere. And so if you just stop doing that, then you allow the momentum of your desires to carry you further. So our question to you is, what causes it to be less work to focus on what you want? What kinds of things could you do or have you found success with that make it not such hard work? Have you ever needed to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning because your friend's picking you up at 3:30 because you have an hour drive to a mountain stream, and that's when the fish are biting? And when you wake up, is that hard work? In anticipation of that fresh air and that fresh stream and being out there all day with your friend. So we're just pointing out that that's looking at a condition that makes you feel better, where sometimes when you look at the condition of your work, it doesn't not make you feel that way. So the art of staying in alignment is finding a way to look at it so that you don't introduce resistance into it. Because almost everybody is bringing things forward. And the key to deliberate creation is figuring out what kinds of things you want to keep bringing forward because they serve you, and what kinds of things you no longer want to keep bringing forward and having active in your vibration because they don't serve you. And the only way that you can know for sure. What's serving you and what doesn't is by bringing it forward and feeling how it feels. But before you can really be aware, sensitive to how something feels in the early subtle stages, you have to have achieved a sort of connection with source energy. The reason we teach meditation is because it's easier to teach you to have no thought at all than it is to have pure positive thought. So if we can get you to have no thought for a little while so that you can then experience while you're awake what it feels like to have a higher vibration, then once you've had the experience of that, now you're more sensitive. People will say to us, Abraham, is it normal for all hell to break loose in my life once I begin meditating? And we say, yes. It's normal for you to be more sensitive. It's normal for you to be more aware at the early subtle stages that you're heading down a thought path that has resistance in it. So you got to figure out what thoughts you're thinking that are depleting you rather than replenishing you. Because you don't need to be depleted. You don't need to be burned out. So now you've all heard this in various stages, and you've all heard our response to it. Now let's talk about some of the nitty-gritty. As I connect with this energy that creates worlds, I experience the benefit of the cooperative vortices that are moving about, mine and that of others, so that we come together in more timely manners. Things that ordinarily would take a longer period of time because I'm chasing this down or chasing this down are taken care of because of the universal forces that are involved. And things happen in just remarkable ways. And the best way that I can describe this is that the timing of my world is working better for me. It's as if I've gotten out of my own way and now timing is working better. I realize that there is a never-ending trail of those who could receive the benefit of my work. I also realize that all of them are not ready for me right here and now. So I don't have to be ready for all of them because they're all not ready for me. I just have to be ready for those who are ready for me. And the universe knows who's ready for me and who I'm ready for, and it's sort of being scheduled in this uncanny way where it's as if there is a consideration that is taking place that is beyond anything that I am doing with my own physicality. So Esther was thinking about the receptive mode. And a thought came into her mind, oh, I brought that new hairbrush for Kate, and I meant to give it to her. But she didn't act on it. She didn't do anything about it. She had the thought. She didn't follow through with the impulse of the thought. Instead, she just put it off, even though it felt pretty lively when she thought it. So in a few minutes, she talked to Kate's mother. And Tracy said, I'm off buying Kate a brush. Kate can't find her brush. And Esther said, that's really funny because I have a brush for Kate. Now, if Esther had followed through when the impulse came, you see, the universe was orchestrated. The universe was trying to make life not be hard. Not hard for Kate, who lost her brush. Not hard for Tracy, who went to buy one. The universe knew Kate needs a brush. Esther has a brush for Kate. And here it comes, this effortless thing. It could have been seamless, you see. But there was a little resistance in it. Now, Kate happily has her brush and the new one that her mother bought for her. See what we're getting at? Esther didn't let it be as easy as it could be, you see. It could have been very easy. It's so easy because your inner being knows where everything that you want is and knows when it's where you want it. In other words, knows when and where. Timing. And so when you get off on your timing, then life gets harder for you. Then you miss opportunities, you miss conversations, you miss the dovetailing of thought. And so that's why this getting in the receptive mode is really at the basis of everything that you're asking about. Because when you're in the receptive mode, then you have good timing. You know the difference between you're going to work and you're going through the streets and there are lots of stoplights, and you know the difference between those days when you miss the traffic and you just go, because your timing is on, you see. And everything in your world can be like that. Just a matter of having the experience. Esther is laughing because she said she began counting the things that the universe was orchestrating for her, that she was not allowing to unfold in the most timely of manner. We would like her to know it was partly in preparation for this conversation that we're all having with you. But just the same, you have a concierge in the sky. Not literally in the sky, but you might as well think of us there as anywhere. Who know where all the pieces to all of the things that are important to you are. And when you give up this flawed premise that there are blessings in heaven from hard work and struggle, and instead you accept that the blessings are offered to you on an ongoing basis, but you must be absent of struggle in order to tap into that, then you're off and running. We would not try to make it happen. We would look for an opportunity to quiet your mind. And you can do it as often as you want, but we would certainly do it at least 15 or 20 minutes at the beginning of every day. We really would. We would not miss the opportunity for the timing. Because, you see, oh, this is so good. So as you're tapping in and receiving the inspiration for this, and then the universe is queuing it up, if you're not vibrationally up to speed with what the universe has queued up for you, then you get overwhelmed by it. Overwhelmment is the emotion that you feel when you're asking for more than you're letting in. These are the words that we want you to hear right now. Very strong, very accurate, truest thing that we've ever said. This time-space reality has the wherewithal to deliver to you in fullness anything that you desire. Anything, no exceptions. So when an idea occurs to you, you can accomplish it without the struggle that you have come to believe in. So what's happening to you, your ability to connect with Source and receive these ideas is not being sustained. That's why the difference between step 3 and step 4 is so important, because step 3, receptive mode, yahoo. But if you are not maintaining your connection to step 3, then as the idea comes and you're not ready to be ready, then it feels to you like you have to compensate for that with action. And there's not enough action in the world to compensate for that stumbling in the resistance, you see. So the simple answer is, more will not come to you than you can accomplish. But the accomplishment has to be allowed by you to come to you in the same way and from the same place that the ideas did to begin with. Now, what that means is, when your Source, when your inner being gives you an idea, it's not like your inner being is saying, we've got a brilliant idea and here it is. Now work hard and make it happen. That's not what your inner being is saying. Your inner being says, here's an idea, and more ideas will follow that will make it unfold with ease. Can you feel that? But when you receive the idea, you haven't received the next and the next and the next and the next, and you fall back on your action in order to make it happen. Esther knows the feeling of that, because the ideas keep coming, and Esther will say to us and to others, I get really rested and then I make a schedule for the year, and then we have to fly it. Then the whole team has to get on an airplane and be over there and be over there and be over there. And we were so rested and so ambitious. Now we actually have to do the physicality to make that happen. She's not saying that anymore. What she's saying is, I love flying. It's so easy to get from place to place. She's saying, all of us moving about, some coming from Canada, some coming from Arizona, some coming from Utah. They're coming from so many places. And she says, we don't miss flights, we don't lose bags, we don't miss shows. It just keeps unfolding. And the more Esther says that, then the easier it is. The easier it is for her. She can't even remember the last time she had a hiccup in her flight. You see what we're getting at? Or she could say, oh yeah, I made the schedule really hard this year. We're going to 40 cities and this many this and this many this and this many this, and just introduce resistance to the equation. And then the same schedule that could have been delightful and easy is now hard just because of the attitude that's been focused upon it. You see the difference?